Good evening, and welcome to Bring It to the Table on a Friday night. As I always say, get to the table with a glass of wine, milk, water, whatever it is that your taste buds calls for, and sit back and relax. I pray that you've had a good week, and now that it's Friday, it's the weekend, that you're also going to enjoy it. I would say mask up, enjoy your family and friends, and let's have a good time tonight. Tonight's going to be very interesting because I have a dear friend. We've been knowing each other, I guess, a little bit over 13 years, if not longer, and it's been great. And what I like about tonight is that I've had quite a few people say, you know what, I don't know what I want to do. I've retired, and there's some saying I'm trying to decide on what should I do, what not should I do. Well, tonight we're going to talk about how to reinvent yourselves. And it's going to be very interesting because this lady reinvented herself. But before we go any further, I want to give you the request line to call in, which is area code 310-910-9676, extension 1. Once again, extension 310-910-9676, extension 1. So call in with your questions, and I do understand some have said, you know what, I just cannot break away because it's so interesting and I have questions, but just listening to all the information, I don't want to lose nothing. So again, sometimes you know it's okay to just step away, and because you can always go back to this particular podcast and listen to it again. Again, thank you for all of your support that I've been getting, and thank you for your love. Now, once again, we're going to get started because I'm very excited about tonight. And I'm excited because I'm too trying to reinvent myself. And you have mixed emotions sometimes in how to do that. And, is it a good thing? And am I going to fail in reinventing myself? Well, we're going to get those questions asked tonight. And I want to say hello to my friend Ann Bowman. Hi, Ann.
Hey, nice to see you again.
It's nice. I'm good. It's nice to see you. Ann is gorgeous. Now, you know what? If you're looking at the YouTube, you can see how gorgeous she is. She is absolutely gorgeous. And I hope a little later on she can tell you how old she is. But it's great. She looks fabulous. I can see why Bill stays on her. Hey, she's absolutely gorgeous. But Ann, as you know, tonight we're going to talk about how one reinvent themselves. But before we talk about that, tell me, what was your career in the very beginning, and what were you doing before you even retired from what it was that you were doing? Tell me about that.
Well, I don't want anyone to think they have a hearing problem. I am from New York, so let's get that right out of the way. Because I've been here since '59, but my accent is still right here with me, so not as bad, but it's still here.
I love the accent myself. I love it.
Well, thank you. So I went to UCLA, and that's where I got my bachelor's and my master's degree in physical education, and I got my teaching credential, and I spent 32 years teaching high school dance, exercise, AP psychology, class sponsor 5 times, got married, raised 2 kids,
okay.
Got divorced, got remarried. It's a whole thing, but I was a teacher.
Okay. Now, did you enjoy it? Was that something you wanted to do? Was that something you've always wanted to do, was to be a teacher?
I loved it.
Okay.
I really enjoyed working with the kids who are now in their 50s and 60s, and I run into them all the time. I live in my own neighborhood, so to speak.
Really?
So I run into people all the time with the famous, don't I know you from someplace? It happens all the time. Yes, I enjoyed it.
What grade was it?
High school.
High school? Oh,
I
wow.
taught high school, actually it was 10th through 12, and then when high school included the 9th grade, then it became 9 through 12, and I retired in 2004.
Now, I'm quite sure that was an experience within itself in teaching high school kids.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know you ran into a couple of difficult kids from time to time. How did you deal with that?
When you're a new teacher, you want to be everybody's friend. As time, like a new mother, you can't discipline my kid, I'm his friend. No. Put your foot down. As time goes on and you are stronger in what you do, disciplining people becomes easier, especially when you tell the kids, your actions are your choices. The consequences are yours. You have to figure out, what do you want out of this? Trying to get me upset or another teacher upset or whatever the case might be is not to your advantage. So you need to think this one through. And I used to repeat that mantra in a variety of different ways, depending on who I was talking to, what the relationship was. But the problem, the challenge is making people become accountable for their actions, and knowing that every action is going to get a reaction. So what do you want? It's the same thing. If you don't want to graduate, what do you expect with the rest of your life? You're going to graduate. What do you have in mind? What do you see in your head? What are you feeling?
Did they listen to that? How many out of all of those kids that you taught did they actually listen, and that you might have ran into over the years to come back and says, you know what, thank you?
I get a lot of positive feedback from the people I've run into, and I'm usually included on the Facebook page for the high school and stuff like that. I couldn't give you a number,
But that's okay.
but I can say for the most part, yes, people listened and they had great experiences, because I do get a lot of feedback. In fact, some of them became personal friends.
Okay.
We are adopted grandparents to the children of one of my former students. And there's all kinds of stories, but yeah. So I've got, some of them became personal friends. Others are great acquaintances of, my God, how are you? Let's go for coffee or wine.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
So
love it.
for the most part, it was a good experience.
Do you find that retiring when you did was the best time to retire versus what's going on in the world now and how kids are today?
Oh, yeah. Oh. If I had a crystal ball, I still would have retired when I did, because I don't like what's going on now. I don't like the disrespect I see. But I say so often, if you're going to, you can't give away what you don't own.
So
So
true.
when I hear people speak disrespectfully, it's because nobody's taught them how to be respectful, so they can't give it away. I am so grateful that I retired when I did in 2004. I'm even more grateful that I don't teach high school anymore, for a variety of reasons, because I used to teach health ed, and I couldn't teach it now.
Tell me the difference, and I know there is a difference, but tell me the difference that you feel in teaching then than now, and especially in the area that you was teaching in. What is so different?
I don't know the curriculum today, but let me just, when I was teaching, dance and exercise, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and I had a lot of very advanced students. I created a class called Dance Production. I created from the kids choreographed it, and I pulled it all together and produced it just like I'm doing now. But I taught health education, wonderful, and I taught a unit on sex ed when there were just two sexes.
Okay.
So I don't want to touch that, because then it becomes a political potato.
Sure.
And I'm still convinced that there are still two sexes, and let's just move on. And I couldn't teach today because the curriculum's changed. And you have to say certain things that I just don't agree with. So fortunately, I don't have to.
And that's a good thing when we are at that point in our lives that we don't have to say things that we don't want to say, or we can not be able to say, and it's good, and that's in life, period. That's straight across the board. But even when I was going to school, and I look at the time now that when I was raising my son and he was going to school, I don't know if I could do it now. It's so different. I mean, and it starts at home, from the the disrespect. It starts at home.
It starts at home. And when you have parents who don't know how to discipline, or they're afraid to discipline, then you end up with the disaster that we have now. It is really strange to see a 25-year-old male, I won't call him a man, He didn't get there yet, but he's a 25-year-old male with a mustache smoking on a skateboard. I'm sorry. That's like something from that program Ridiculousness, which I don't ever watch.
Right.
But that's not the point. It's out of sync. Something's out of sync.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. Would you say that when they don't get the discipline from home, it's like the parents push them to the teacher at school,
Or to the friends on the street, or
right.
to somebody else's home, or into the arms of somebody who may or may not be taking care of them in the best way possible. And it's like throwing all the pieces up in the air and praying that they're going to land in the right place. It's ridiculous. And a lot of people, never mind, go ahead.
No, finish. Take a breath.
You need to consider, if you've got children, you need to know how to raise them. Yelling and the anger, you've got to keep all that negativity out of the house. You and your partner need to be able to get along and talk to each other with respect and model what it takes for the kids to see.
And doing that, would you say that helps when they come to school? When they sit in front of that teacher, that they will have that respect. Would you say that a parent, some parents sometimes don't know how to parent because
they weren't parented.
And that true. And I find children having children, kids having kids. So when kids having kids and then they're trying to send them to school, they don't know how to react. They don't know how to. So what they're doing is they pushing that responsibility on the teacher to help them to raise or give that child that respect that they need. But
So where does the breakdown come?
Yeah.
Get back to the church.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
You get back to when you learn what morality is, when you learn what morals are, when you learn what it takes to respect yourself first. Because without respecting yourself, you're not going to respect anybody else. Can't give away what you don't own.
You can't.
I love that phrase.
Yes, that's a new one. Huh? It can't happen. And even back then, teaching, the teachers that was teaching then are different from the teachers that are teaching now.
When we went to college, it wasn't political. We were taught what we wanted to teach, or we were taught what the class said we were going to be learning. There wasn't any proselytizing, there wasn't any propaganda going on, and you didn't have to think the way the professor thought to get a passing grade. So when we went to school to become teachers or whatever we wanted to become, we got an education in that direction. From what I'm seeing now, a lot of teachers, a lot of people, there's tremendous propaganda going on at the collegiate level, the university level, which is really skewing the education process badly in the wrong direction. Because, first of all, why does everybody in my class have to think like I do? Why can't we have discourse?
Good point.
Second of all, if you've got people that you're teaching and you won't pass them unless they think your way, and they produce thoughts that match yours, and if you are not in sync with the Constitution, the country you live in, and then they go out and start teaching, cancer spreads.
That's right. You know, down south, they didn't believe in down south.
Okay.
New Orleans, Mississippi and places like that. Down south, they did not believe in passing a child just to pass. Back in the day when I was coming up and my parents was coming up, teachers were sincere about teaching. They were sincere about that child learning the correct way to say their ABCs, the correct way to count from 1 to 10. And even if they count from 1 to 10, they still knew how to count from 10 down to 1. But they were taught. And children down south had to respect. It was yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. That's the way we were brought up. So when they went to school, they had that respect was there. And the teachers say, hey, you know what? If you don't know it, I'm not going to just pass you. You've got to know it. I've got to teach you so that you can know. So
When
it's
I came out from New York, I was already 17, but I have to tell you something. It was the same way. We didn't get passed because we were cute or whatever the story was. We got passed because we could pass the test. And that was the bottom line. I don't know what's going on now, but it isn't pretty.
And you had parents back then, it didn't matter. If you were supposed to go to the second grade and you were not able to go to the second grade, you stayed in the second grade. You didn't care how old you were. You're gonna stay, you know. So, but it's a lot different. So I understand, and I see why you retired.
Well, I retired for two reasons,
Okay.
not the least of which was with teaching, and I wanted to teach. I did not ever wanted to go into administration.
Okay.
Because to me, that's just pushing papers. Yes, you make more money. Yes, you have a better retirement, but you're not having an impact on the kids. And that's where my heart was. So I stayed in the classroom. And I taught for 32 years.
Wow.
And you're not going to make any more if you teach longer. So I said, fine, hello, I'm done.
Well, when you retired after 32 years with the children and the kids that, you know, you raised, you know, if I could say that, did you miss it? You missed it?
You have to get used to doing something differently and something different.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, did I miss it? Yeah, because it's a habit.
Yeah.
You're used to having the alarm clock go off at a certain time.
Is that a call? Okay. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Who am I speaking with?
You're speaking with Helene Tebow, which is a former student of the young lady you're talking to right now, Miss Bowman.
Go ahead, Miss
I was a
Bowman.
former student of her.
Hey, girl, how you doing? Hello,
I'm
Helene.
doing wonderful. I didn't want to miss you. I just got off work, so I'm calling in. And I'm listening to everything that you're saying, and it's true. Things have changed tremendously. But I want to just say that you're doing a remarkable job. Can you hear me?
Yes, hon. I can
I
hear
just
you.
wanted to say that you're doing a remarkable job with transitioning your careers.
Thank
I
you.
know her personally, and she's doing a tremendous job building from scratch, learning how to, dissect her art and sell her art and have exhibits. She's doing a wonderful thing. And it's sad that some people don't look at life like that. After retirement, they travel, they do this, and that's great. She just took a different route, and I think it's amazing what she's doing.
Well,
And I just wanted to compliment her on that.
well, thank you for calling in. I see she has a big smile on her face, so thank you so much for calling in.
Helene, what year did you graduate?
1989.
All right. Praise
That's
God.
what we were talking about. I was asked if I'm still in touch with any of my students. I said I'm in touch with quite a few.
Oh, yeah. I still stay in contact with her. Sometimes I'm out there visiting her, and we're having Christmas together, if I'm available with me and my family. So I still do keep in contact with her because she has a good heart, and she's a wonderful person, and she's helped me in my times of trouble. So I just think it's always good to pave the way for those that helped you and give back. So that's what I'm calling in, just to say kudos, and you're doing a remarkable job, and keep it up.
Thanks, darling.
Thank you. Thank you for calling in. Thank you so much.
Bye, hon.
You're welcome.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
yes. So, as I was saying, at the retirement, when you decided to retire, go ahead.
It takes, when I was teaching health, I remember this clearly, it takes about a month to undo a bad habit and make a new one. So if you don't want to smoke anymore, give yourself a month to stop and replace it with something else, preferably not food. Smoking is an oral habit, but that's not the point. It takes about a month to stop doing one thing and start doing another. When I retired, I didn't set the alarm clocks, and I have to tell you, I still got up at dark 30 every morning until I realized I didn't have to get up at that hour anymore, and I didn't have to get dressed to leave the house or go in traffic. You have to get into a different rhythm in life. Now, why did I pick painting? You'll laugh.
Well, let me
Go
ask you
ahead.
this. Once you retire, and
Yeah.
you, like you said, you give yourself a month, did you know exactly what you wanted to do? Because, you find some people, once they retire, they have no idea what they want to do. They get into a, excuse me, I'm going to say, they get into a defunk and not knowing what they want to do. So when you decide to, hey, I need to do something else, I still have life, and life is still good. What am I going to do? When did you make that decision?
So I looked at Bill, my husband, and I said to him, who am I now? Because nobody's calling me Mrs. Bowman. I don't have to answer to bells. You feel like a little mouse running around, period 1, period 2, period. And all of a sudden, I've got the whole day. And I looked at Bill and I said, who am I now? And he said, take it easy. Lift it up to the Lord. He said, and then don't give yourself a title. Let things fall into place. Go in your head and say, what have you always wanted to do? What have you always wanted to try? Now's the time. The kids are gone. You're free spirit. Step out, and now you can't fail. If you try something and it either looks ugly or it didn't work, you didn't fail. You had an experience. It didn't work, then go to plan B. Do it again a different way, or use different colors, or try it facing a different direction, or whatever the
Good
story
advice.
is.
Good advice.
But if you just sit there and do nothing, that's exactly what you're going to get. Nothing, and then you get depressed because nothing's happening. Well, nothing's happening because you're not doing anything.
Good advice. Something you asked me a few minutes ago, what made me get into this?
Yeah.
And I really had no idea that I was going to do this. It would start out as a podcast, and only because my son pushed me, and he's always pushing and pushing and pushing me after I came out of retirement, after I was retired from show business. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. But I always knew one thing. I enjoy having a mic in my hand because I always would MC at church and stuff like that. So I knew that, but that's as far as it went. I didn't have no idea about this. So you do have to just step back, take a moment, and find there are other things that you like to do,
When I was a kid, my father, rest in peace, who had no formal training at all as an artist, he painted 3 or 4 paintings, I think 3. But for reasons that make no sense to me at all, except maybe the Lord knew me before I knew him, I would look at those paintings and say to myself, I can do that. I never picked up a brush in high school or college. I was always on an academic track. I never held a brush in my hand until I retired. My daughter gave me a set of brushes, and I met a lady at somebody's house, and she taught art, and I said, can I take art classes? Like I needed permission, but I always, that's how we roll. I said, I can take art classes, can I? He said, sure. I started taking...
this is Bill. Your
Yeah,
husband.
Bill,
Okay.
yeah. And I started taking art classes, and presto. Everything clicked. I mean, she was a good teacher, but things started to happen, and people were going, do you sell? I said, first of all, your first 2 or 3 paintings, it's like having birth pains. No, I'm not selling that. I'm holding on to that forever. And then 5 years and 10 years later, you're going, okay, the kid's grown up. You can let go of the first one. Let go. We need to move on. I've got wallpaper in my house now, made out of all my paintings. Oh yeah, I sell off the walls in my house. People come in and literally buy. In fact, the lady's coming over tomorrow morning to buy 2 paintings. I took them down. I put 2 more up.
Wow.
So I started painting, and then I started creating my own show because I figured if I don't toot my own horn, nobody else is going to do it.
Very true. Very true. So when you decided to take the art classes, and after you've been in classes for, a month or 2 or whatever, is that when you really realize that this is now what I really want to do? This is the joy I have. This is the reinventing of me now.
It's a journey. When you start painting and you have to buy all your supplies and you go to the class every week, etc., and you come home and you go, what do you think of this, hon? And it's always beautiful. Even if it wasn't, it was always beautiful. But the point is, it's a process, and after a while you're going, damn, I'm pretty good. I can do this, or I can do that, or what if I, and then you start trying other things. So after a while you become more and more confident, and then when you start to get feedback from the general population, whoever walks through your house, and they say the same things too, it's like, whoa, you must be okay.
So now this is the reinventing time.
That's when it begins to happen, is going, okay. And then I sold one, and then I sold two, and then I said, okay, I'm an artist. Okay. And it's not because I sold that makes me professional, it's because it clicks in your head that says, yes, I am an artist, I can do this. And now I walk around either showing my art or telling people I start this art show. I started the art show 4 years ago. Okay. I did 3 shows, and then COVID took the wind out of everybody's sails.
Right.
But I had 20 vendors, over 200 people in our backyard. Okay, it's not the average backyard. We have a half acre.
I've been to your home, so yeah. It's a lovely.
Yeah, so we've got it set up with 20 stations. People can come in, they meander around the yard. People sell. Everyone who's there, not necessarily friends of mine, people who said yes, they send their money and they want to be in the show. And people have been selling. It's been successful, and then COVID hit. So this is the first one I'm doing since COVID. This is the end of the month.
What kind of joy does it give you when you sitting and you're painting and you're designing something? What kind of joy? And I'll tell you why I asked that later. But what is the joy you get? What is that feeling you get?
I love being creative. When I created the dance production classes I told you about, it gives an opportunity for the kids to show their stuff off. Mm-hmm. This time it gives me an opportunity for me to show me off. This is the new me.
Okay.
This is the new career. I reinvented myself. But it's great also because it gives me an opportunity to share with my friends out there. But back to your questions, it gives me a lot of joy of being able to create something that didn't exist until I did it.
Yeah.
And it whatever color I want.
Yeah. I asked that question because, as you know, this is called Bring It to the Table. And whenever someone comes to the table, I also put myself on the table. Mm-hmm. I have to put myself on the table. And I'm going to put myself on the table right now. Dancing for me, I started at 3, taking tap and ballet and turned professionally at 12. I could take a dance class, and a dance class for me is such a high climax for me. And, most women love going shopping, spending money, going to the malls, and when they get upset, they want to go shopping. Not me. I will put on some music, and I'll do this now, even as being an amputee. If I'm going through something, I'll put some music on, and I will dance. It's just that joy. That's my love. I love it. I wrap myself in it. And once I wrap myself in it, and I'm going to be honest, it's like me having a relationship with my lover as my dancing partner. That's what dancing does for me. I'm good. It's like everything is opened up. I'm fine. And that's the reason why I asked that question, because we find sometimes ourselves enjoying something that gives us that peace, that joy, that love, that intimacy.
Yeah.
And people have to understand, I shouldn't say have to, but it's when you find something that you enjoy, it's not taking anything away from you being with your spouse or your significant other, there is an intimacy that you have when you have a career that you enjoy. That's that other love. That's your lover.
That's what I understand.
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
understand what you're talking about, and that comes over a period. It wasn't like that when I started painting. It is like that now.
Yeah.
When I create something and I can feel it, and
Yeah.
it's just a lot of fun. And when it's done, and I look at it and I go, okay, next, because you're going to sell it. Hopefully, you'll sell it.
And I'm quite sure you can tell me, you step back. You step back and you look at it and you say, wow,
Yeah.
look at that. You know, because I'm quite sure when you're painting something, you go there.
Oh yeah.
You go there. I'm painting this, and every stroke is something. It means something.
Or I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking about what I need to do on the painting, or what I need. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why there's one here that went through a metamorphosis until it ended up looking like it did. That you asked me to bring a couple of them, and one of them ended up no place close to what it started.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, and I want the listeners out there, those that are thinking about recreating themselves, you can do it, and you can do it with love, and you can do it with joy, and it's also another part of growth.
Well, face it, of course. You get to a point where you used to dance when you were younger, ain't gonna happen anymore.
Well, I still dance.
No. I can wiggle my hips too. But as far as my feet are concerned, I've had 15 surgeries on my feet
Okay.
for a variety of reasons. I don't move like I used to move.
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, in spite of our best efforts, Mother Nature does remind you periodically that she is still around, and say, you're going to sit down in what position did you say? And exactly how are you getting up from that position? So things that used to be no issue for me at all in terms of either sitting down or getting up, oh no, they become an issue.
What I had to do, because I started at 3, taking tap and ballet and jazz, and that's how I made my living, with my career. I had to, once I became an amputee, I had to find another way to be able to
Absolutely.
dance again. And for me to find that way, I went to Atlanta and taught 80 amputees how to dance. So even with that, it may not be the ballet position or the tap, but it's still a dance, and it still can be a movement that I still enjoy and being able to do. Sometimes even with those that are that don't have prosthetic legs, they're in a wheelchair, but I'm able to show them how to move their upper body to the music and to the movement of the music. So I still have that joy in being
Absolutely.
able to do that. And believe it or not, even with me having the prosthetic, I get in my mirror, in front of my mirror, and I create. I still dance. I still move and do some things, but it's joy.
Yeah.
It's joy.
I understand.
Yeah, I'm going to take a moment because there's a couple of shout outs that I want to give right now to my listeners out there. As we were talking, J. Lynn All-American Amputee Foundation, which is my foundation, it's just, my heart is close to my heart, and it's because I am an amputee, and there's so many out there that have lost a limb due to cancer, poor blood circulation, or whatever, car accident. But they have a problem in getting prosthetics. The insurance don't pay everything because they look at it as being cosmetics. So, yeah, they do. It's a cosmetic, but it's not a cosmetic. I have this foundation to be able to help those. And it gives me joy to be able to give back. Because, see, when I became an amputee, I had no idea that I was going to be an amputee. And I had a lot of help. I had my family, my friends helped me. And I want to give back to be able to help those out there that don't have the help and can't get the help. And that's the reason why I ask you to send in your donations. Donate to J. Lynn All-American Amputee Foundation, because it's not for me. and if I want to say it's for me to be able to help those that need the help. And I have different programs. I have a 6-step program to try to help them get back. It's not only just for adults, but it's for children as well. I have peer and post consultation, peer support group. I have a lot. I do an awful lot. So go to the website, check it out, and hit that donation button and give so that I can help those out there. And they appreciate it. And I appreciate helping those. And go to JLYNAAA foundation.org and push that button. And not only just push the button, but look at everything that J-Lyn has to offer. Everything that I have to offer to be able to help those out there. And it doesn't matter whether it's male, female, children. It doesn't mean that just because you lost a leg. No. Losing a breast is still is a limb loss. So check me out and send some donations to J-Lyn so we can keep on helping those that's out there that needs the help. Also, for those that like keeping the car well, like my friend Bill over here, I know you like keeping your car looking good, and I know you like to have Ann looking good in that car. Yeah, call Exclusive Auto Touch. Glenn is an awesome detailer. He went to school to become certified, and a lot of people say certified. Yes, you can become certified. He's not just out there with a bucket. He's out there with the bucket, but being certified as he washed those cars and detailed those cars. So go to Exclusive Auto Touch. Go to his website, which is EAT Detailing, and I'm going to spell it for you. It's EATDETAILING.com. Check him out. Go to the website, or you can even call him at area code 626-328-0435. Now, if you want to keep that coating on your car, that it's called ceramic coating. If you want that ceramic coating, mention that you heard the broadcast, and you can get $150 off on it. So check him out. Go to EAT Detailing and get their cars, and have your wife or your girlfriend car looks good. And men, we know you like keeping that car.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot more. I want to get back to Ann, so I'm gonna do this shout out right now. Last week I had a young lady on by the name of Lynn Goodman, Dr. Lynn Goodman, and she talked about lifestyle, with the how to keep yourself in good health, and I listened to her real well, and a lot of things made a whole lot of sense. The fundamentals of being stress-free and eating right and having that spirituality and all of those things going together. Check her out. Go to her website and just kind of look over things and see, because we all need that stress-free lifestyle. We need to be stress-free. So I'm going to say, go to Pacific Rejuvenation Medical. Go to weekendweightcenter.com, and that's weekendweightcenter.com, and check Dr. Goodman out, Dr. Goodlow out, and she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. And you know what? I'm going there myself because, I believe in being stress-free. Try to stay stress-free. I don't want to be stressed out. I want to live a little bit longer,
Back to changing things, you asked me as we transition. When I came to the Lord, and it was later in my life, and I came to the Lord after we were married for 6 months, January of '98. Immediately, I made 2 big changes. One, I decided I don't curse anymore. I didn't have a sailor's mouth, but I just said, that's it, we're done. And the second one, this is what the big one was: get rid of all the negative people in your life. I don't care if they're friends or family, they're foe. Get rid of negative people in your life.
You have to.
Amen.
You have to. And would you send a shout out to your event that's coming up, your art show? Is it coming up?
You want to?
Yeah, this one. Yeah, this here. Yeah, talk about it.
You can't see this. This is too small. But I'll tell you about it. I'm having an art show in our backyard with 22 vendors on Saturday, October 23rd. If you would like to come, and if you don't know me, you're not on my mailing list, obviously, send your name and email to me at Anne, A-N-N-E, the letter K, Bowman, B-O-W-M-A-N, @gmail.com. If you just send it to me and say, I want to get on your mailing list for your show, I'd be happy to have you, to send it to you. I live in the valley, in the middle, I think, of the valley, in Lake Balboa or Upper Van Nuys, and it's not hard to get to. Okay, it's not close to this particular area, but it's not that far, and it's going to be great. 22 vendors selling a variety of things that they make. Or one lady is there supporting cancer. She lost her 20-year-old daughter to cancer, so she's doing something with that. But for the most part, we all have created what we're selling, and it's going to be fantastic. It really is. And I usually get over 200 people. Well, I'm looking for 300 this year.
You know what? I'm learning to make jewelry. My girlfriend, my best girlfriend. She's very creative, very talented. Miss Blinky Williams, awesome singer. Miss Blinky Williams.
Great
Yes.
name.
Yes. I mean, but yeah, she's a Motown star. You know, and matter of fact, she was Sammy Davis Jr.'s protege, and that's my best friend. And she's teaching me how to make jewelry. So we're going to talk about that because we can be a vendor
next year. Yeah.
Yes. So, if you're making stuff, call in so you can be one of them vendors next year.
Yeah, just send your information to me. Either you want to come to the show. If you want to be in the show, let me know what you do. I'm not starting next year's show now, but I'll definitely put you on the list, and when that time comes, we'll talk about it.
Right. And also I want to say hello to Mr. Lehman Scott. Lehman Scott is the young man that made and wrote the song for me, Her Mystical Journey. I just want to say hello to Lehman Scott. Thank you for your music, and thank you for just being creative in that song for me, Her Mystical Journey. And if it's something that you want to be creative, there's some music, go to Les Word Music, and that's LESWORDMUSIK Productions.com. And go to his website and check him out. And I'm a very talented young man. I gave him just a little bit about my journey, and he came up with the song Her Mystical Journey. So check him out. Okay, before we end the night, I just want to Anne, she brought 2 of her paintings, and I hope that those that are looking on YouTube can see. Tell me about this particular painting, Anne. This one here that you have.
Is that where? Here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is a painting. I don't know. When you go on the computer, sometimes you find faces and you just use them, and then this is what I was talking about, the creativity involved. I created the bottom. I didn't want the whole body.
Okay.
So I just pulled the
that.
colors from what was in her face. It was meant to be an abstract. This is not an accident. It was meant to look just the way it looks.
What do you think she's saying? When you look at her eyes, what do you think is there? What did you feel?
This is called I'm Watching You.
Okay.
Because that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
It looks like she's watching you.
Yeah.
It looks like she's trying to get somebody's attention.
Did you feel that as you were being creative
Yeah.
with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. What about the other one there?
Now, this is what they call mixed media. I call this one a day at the races. I don't know why. I've never been to the races. It just looked like something I've seen on television when the people get all dressed up with big hats and go
Is
to
it
the
the Kentucky Derby? Yes.
So I decided that's what it is, a day at the races.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mixed media because you can't tell from where you're sitting. But this is a lovely plastic pearl necklace, and this is a lovely fake green little
Emerald?
costume jewelry,
Okay.
and this is paper. This is all paper. There's a technique to that. So this cannot be duplicated. The other one can be duplicated because this is oils. There's
Okay.
nothing on it, but this cannot be duplicated.
So this one is oil, and
This is oil.
Oh, this one. Okay.
But because it's got the multimedia, I can't reproduce this.
Oh.
This I can make copies of
Okay.
and do anything I want with it.
Okay.
But this,
And you put the colors in.
Yeah.
It's just you feeling once you get the basic of the foundation of the face, you add the colors. You make it be what you're feeling at that
Yeah.
particular time.
yeah.
And I'm proud of you. Wow. I mean, it's not easy to pick up a pencil, not alone a brush.
And I was not born with a brush in my hand. I mean, I have friends who said I was born, they've been sketching like you danced at 3, they sketched at 2.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Because it's an art to using a brush. It's an art. I call myself thinking that I can paint in my house.
No, there
I
is
can't
a
do
technique
it.
to
It's a
it, I know.
technique, yeah. And I'm quite sure it's a different technique than
This?
yeah. It's a different technique. Now, going to school, did you learn how to move the wrist? Is it a certain way you move your wrist with the brush in your hand?
It's not that. There are so many different kinds of brushes for so many different kinds of techniques. If you take a look at this is a much bigger brush than I would use. There's a fine line when you're doing up here and the eyelashes. I couldn't use this brush to do this work.
Because the eyeliner is like using an eyeliner. It's like when your eyebrow pencil when you're eyelining doing your eyes.
So you've got brushes that are thick and brushes that are very, very thin. So the technique comes from the size of the brush. You don't have to be taught how to do that. You just have to know how to use the size of the brush and what you're using it for. And then after a while, common sense will tell you, if I'm going to do her eyes, I'm not using this size brush.
Okay.
I mean, that stands to reason.
Right. And even the lips. I noticed the lips are different. The color, I love the color because red is one of my favorite colors. I love the colors. So using a particular brush just to even do the lips and get the lips shaped right.
It takes experience.
How long does it take to do a picture like this?
I've been asked many times how long it takes to do a painting. If there's nothing going on, I can finish it in a few days, depending on how much time I actually spend. I don't move fast. I have a friend who moves with the speed of light. She's amazing, and they all come out well, but that's just her technique. So it takes time. But if we have stuff going on when we have to leave the house and then it takes a little longer.
Let me ask you, is there a certain time of day or is there a certain time that you decide that, today is going to be a day I'm just going to devote my time to art? Or is it at random, or how do you
This is
schedule?
what I do. We're retired. I can do my laundry and paint at the same time because we don't beat clothes on rocks anymore. I have a machine to do that work for me.
So yeah, right.
So, I mean, I can actually multitask.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't have to. We come home from the gym, I sit down and I'll start to paint.
And I ask that question because sometimes people, have a mood or a feeling. Today I'm in such a glossy kind of mood today. So I think I want to paint today.
It's with me, it's just a matter of time. What am I doing, and did I just finish something, or am I starting something? When you're starting something, it takes more energy because you got to get the ball rolling. But the setup I have, when we did construction on our home 5 years ago, we converted what was a garage into my art studio. It's hard to visualize, but I'm at my easel, my glass of wine is there, my jazz is playing on my stereo. I'm good to go.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm good to go.
That's what I'm talking about. That glass of wine You're sitting back.
Yeah.
And you have a lovely home. So, and you know, I like where that pool, you still have the pool table?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever get in there in that area and just?
No.
Nope. I like that.
No. Sometimes Bill will play around, but I play at pool. I don't play pool.
Okay. That's something I want. I like pool, and I want to. You know, kind of
on.
every now and then I kind of. But I'm gonna have Bill. Bill, you're gonna teach me how to play pool. Ann's husband is here with us in the studio today, so, and it's so nice to have you here, Bill. Yeah, I'm gonna have Bill teach us. But so that's the reason why I'm asking. You have to be in a. There's an atmosphere.
Yeah.
An atmosphere when you go to paint, and like I can only imagine the atmosphere of you sitting in your room where you paint with a glass of wine and the jazz, some nice jazz going. That puts you in another frame of mind. It puts you in a creative, I think.
New York state of mind.
There you go. There you go. New York state of mind. There you go. There you go. Now, when did you come here from New York?
59.
What made you come to California?
Oh, my kid brother was killed in a freak accident in school in 57, and it tore my parents up, and they just wanted to get out of the city. So my dad retired from the fire department, we packed the car, and I'm making a complicated story sound very simple. And we left. They had visited California a few years earlier, liked what they saw in the valley when it was still no traffic and a great place to live.
Right.
And we ended up moving in 1959. I was already in college. I had been accepted to UCLA, so I spent a year at Valley just to get residency, and then went to UCLA.
I'm going to ask you this question, Ann. Because you retired and you're at the age that you are now, beautiful age, you know, I pray to the Lord that I live to be that age. What would you say to one and beginning to think about or not think about? And, you know, because sometimes people have a tendency of being afraid to step out. They stay in that box and they're afraid to leap out. What would you tell a person? And let me say this. We're going to put I would like to put an age on it, from 65 up. 65 up. Because usually people start 65, 67, they start looking at retirement and want to retire. And they don't know what they want to retire from, you know, what they're going to do. What would you tell an individual at that age up after they've retired?
Don't stand still. Don't stand still. Don't stand still. If you stand still, you grow roots. You get stuck. It's not only physically, you get stuck mentally, and then you find yourself becoming negative and bitching and moaning that things are not working your way, and you're the one that caused the problem. So you need to, as I said before, you need to figure out what you want to do. And if you don't know what you want to do, try a painting class, try a singing class, try a class at the gym. And if you have not moved in 65 years, take a beginner's class.
Yes.
Don't try and do it. You're not going to become Miss America overnight. Just take it slow, because you are going to hurt. But the point is, no matter what, start doing something. I know a lot of people are grandparents, and they wrap their whole lives around the grandkids, and then you find yourself, when you go home, there's still nothing going on. Yeah. And except you've eaten the food they didn't eat, and you need a new wardrobe because your old one ain't fitting anymore. Because your pants and your backside don't match.
Right.
You can't do that. You've got to keep moving.
And not be afraid.
If you're afraid, you're already defeated.
Yeah, you can't be afraid.
The only way to succeed is to keep doing it, and then doing it again if it didn't work. The experience is the teacher.
Because let me tell you something. I was afraid to do this. And when I learned that my first podcast, I had to talk about myself, I said, oh, no, I can't do this. And the engineer's here. I was supposed to start in May. I called and said, let's go to June. because basically I was afraid. I couldn't. And because I'm not good at talking about myself. So you have to step out you can't be afraid. You got to step out.
But you're doing a good job emceeing.
Thank you.
You keep things going.
I'm trying.
You're
I'm trying.
You're done good.
I've done good.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I want to say to Ann, and as I said, her husband Bill is here. I want to thank you both. And Ann, can I tell them how old you are?
Sure.
Ann is 80 years old. Just turned 80. Was it May?
July 1st.
July 1st, 80. And she looks fabulous. And look what she's doing at 80. She reinvented her life. So again, step out on faith, do what you got to do, and enjoy it, and know that this too can happen for you.
Amen.
As well. And as I say on a Friday night, peace, one love, until next weekend. Have a blessed one.
God bless.